Good morning. Welcome to NewsWare's Trade Talk for Thursday, July 9th. Let's get into the action. Take a look at the S&Ps, which are trading higher by 0.27%, which is, the highest I've seen pretty much all morning. So, it's kind of positive. I mean, we did have these overnight airstrikes that happened. President Trump did, however, this morning say that Iran has reached out and that they really want to make a deal. So there's still a slight chance of a diplomatic resolution here. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's just going to walk away. But his comments, really initially pushed oil prices lower, but, crude has since recovered and is currently kind of trading higher because, there's a lot of uncertainty around this conflict. What else do we have on the economic calendar today? We have the jobless claims, and we have the existing home sales data being released. In corporate news, the AstraZeneca shares are lower after a late-stage heart trial failed to meet its primary endpoint. Lilly, Honeywell updated their guidance. Costco and the Buckle, BKE, they released their June sales figures. IBM announced an update to IBM Bob, its agentic software development platform. On the earnings front, AZZ Corp, they came out and that stock's trading higher. PepsiCo is a little lower after their earnings report. After the bell today, we got WD-40, and then tomorrow morning, the big one, Delta Airlines, DAL, that's scheduled release on Friday morning. Okay, let's take a look at the global markets. And the DAX is now higher by 0.22%. I mean, it's being supported by tech stocks. It was flat. I mean, it was up like 0.01, and now it's up 0.22%, so that's kind of positive. London, on the other hand, is weaker. It's down 0.59%. We're seeing, healthcare and energy stocks leading that decline. The CAC in Paris is up 0.47%, with financial stocks really helping to support that market. We're looking at Asia last night, and the Nikkei jumped 1.38%. Broad strength in tech and electronic stocks. The yen did weaken a little bit, but there's going to be a report on the yen, whether the government intervened later this week. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng finished down 0.7%. The Iranian-U.S. tensions really, pushed oil prices higher when the bombing started, and that kind of weighed negatively on the sentiment. But China, the Shanghai composite, it rose 1.65%, with technology and specifically semiconductor stocks outperforming the broader market. China's going to allow NVIDIA's H200 chips to be sold to a limited number of companies in their country. And then you had the annual inflation rate out of China, which eased to a 3-month low of 1% in June, following 1.2 in May. Taking a look at over at oil now. Oil is trading higher. I mean, you got WTI at $74.02. You got Brent at $78.68. It was lower after Trump's comments, but there is a lot of concern here. So we are seeing some push higher in oil prices. And Russia did come out and say that they're going to ban diesel exports because they need to, provide diesel, internally to the country. Yesterday's EIA data for the week of July 3rd showed the build of 3 million barrels. That's actually bearish for oil prices. So, we'll have to see if that comes into play at all today. Let's talk about earnings coming out, hitting the tape this morning. Well, listen, you got to start off with Pepsi, ticker PEP. Stock's down 2.10%. They missed by a penny, but they did that on higher revenue. AstraZeneca, ticker AZZ, that stock's higher by 6.83%. They beat by 16 cents, and they did that on higher revenue. Then we're going to be talking about Simply Good Foods, SMPL. That stock's up 16%. They beat by 7 cents on higher revenue. Nice. Upcoming tomorrow morning, we got Delta Airlines, DAL, EPS is $1.44. Expected move is 6.34% on their release. In terms of economic reports hitting the tape this morning, what do we got? I mean, listen, we got jobless claims at 8:30 a.m. People are expecting, estimates are calling for a reading of 218K versus last week's figure, which came in at 215K. We got existing home sales also being released today. In Fed Speak at 9 a.m., we're going to hear from Fed Bank President John Williams, and at 1:30 p.m., we're going to hear from Dallas Fed Bank President Lori Logan. What else? Okay, let's move. We'll talk about stocks, hitting the tape this morning. We've got to start off with Apple, which is showing a little weakness this morning. The Apple TV scored 89 Emmy Award nominations. Wow. Talking Amazon, trading lower this morning. They announced a new Alexa AI project, codenamed Project Moonraker, to enable more complex multi-step tasks on Alexa. Meta's out there planning to put their AI chips into production starting this September. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stocks, NVIDIA, French regulators are, they've have a probe going into NVIDIA, and they said it's nearing an end. Look at shares in NVIDIA. They're trading higher this morning. Starbucks, they're tapping AI to reduce their reliance on IBM and Microsoft-type software. Okay. In terms of guidance news, AZZ raised their full year 2027 adjusted EPS to $6.75 to $7.15. Street estimate was at $6.94. Nice uptick. Honeywell's a mixed bag here because remember, they got that stock split coming up later this month. But they raised their full year 2026 adjusted EPS view to $7.90 to $8.30. Street estimates is $8.24. Eli Lilly expects to record a $2.8 billion charge in Q2 of 2026. And it was on a buyout that they did. Shareholders meeting, Chewy, CHWY, they're having a shareholders meeting at 9 a.m. Planet Labs, ticker PL, they're holding one at 1 p.m. In terms of catalyst calls, Deutsche Bank is out there calling CBOE oversold and is positive on the stock going into earnings. They also called Thermo Fisher, TMO, a catalyst call buy idea. Okay, now we're going to move on. We're going to talk about today's pick of the day, and I'm going to go with Delta, ticker DAL. Earnings are out tomorrow morning. EPS is $1.44. Expected move is 6.34%. Look at yesterday's call volume. The put-to-call ratio was 0.45. There was 41,000 calls versus 15,500 puts. I mean, that put-call ratio was in the sweet spot. Open interest, 187K to 208K. See, that's negative, so it's not fitting my model perfectly, but the major brokers are raising price targets on it, and they continue to like the stock. But for me, I mean, you look at the stock and, 87.24 to 87.50. I want to get in low 87. Actually, my price, 86.90 is really where I feel is a good entry point. But, low 87s or under is really what I'm hoping for. And it could trade down to, 86.75. But I'll say 86.90 as an entry point. But that's my pick of the day, Delta Airlines, ticker DAL. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the hot stories hitting the tape in the last 15, 20 minutes or so. Walmart's Sam's Club adds Weight Watchers membership offers. Hormuz traffic slows after ceasefire breakdown. Zillow Group announces the launch of Zillow Pro. It's a premium membership program. Rackspace and Palantir announced an operating model framework for AI in production. Costco's net sales rose 10.6% year over year in June. May was 14.5% gain, so it was well beneath that. B of A added Meta Platforms to its US 1 list. That's positive. Monster Beverage, MNST, they're going to do a 2-for-1 stock split on August 11th. Paramount will not close its Warner Brothers deal before July 22nd. That's all I'm saying. Okay, let's move on to yesterday's pick of the day, which was Verizon, ticker VZ, which was a winner. The stock opened up at 42.47 and then fell down to 42.25. Now, I had said 42.50, so it opened up lower than that. But then it rallied, and rallied all the way up to 43.24 during the day, which beats the 1% goal. So, yeah, the 1% gain was there. Verizon was a winner yesterday. It was a good pick in a market that was down 500 points. So got to be pleased with that call. All right, traders, that concludes today's NewsWare's Trade Talk podcast. If you get a second, give us a like. But you guys know what to do. Let's go out there and let's make some green.